Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to more GT7 news and updates. Now again, with the update of Gran Turismo 7 for November seeming less likely, I'd say in my opinion, by the day, with very little news actually coming out officially, but many rumours kind of circulating the internet, including on YouTube and obviously Twitter and stuff like that. It feels like it's in a very bizarre position for this November update. Now, just a note for those that might be kind of new to how Gran Turismo 7 gets updated or all that stuff, because it is on sale recently, so some people may not be aware of how it works. Let me just quickly explain. So, since around the start of the release of Gran Turismo 7, we've had essentially monthly updates. Usually, these get put into trailers on a Wednesday after a bit of teasing by Kaz himself on Twitter, and then we kind of, get the update released on Thursday. Now, November seems to be, kind of really drawing out. We had our last update, I believe, October 20th. So we're approaching that point, and we only have a single Thursday left within November itself. Now, this essentially gives Kaz up until, well, this Sunday to essentially, put his teaser out, and then the standard format kind of, entails from there. So we'll have the update trailer drop on the Wednesday, and then the actual update itself drop on the Thursday. However, there seems to be a few rumours going around that this might not be the case. So let me explain exactly what I mean by that. So the GT World Series Finals are up next weekend. So this video will probably be released on the Saturday. So it'll be the weekend following, well, this weekend. So that is kind of a big event for Gran Turismo. It's kind of the yearly big event where, all the best drivers are on a big stage. This one's being hosted from Monaco. And quite often we do get a lot of kind of, I'd say, more nuanced reveals. We've had kind of Sophie showcased during one of the rounds of the season. Obviously, with it being the big finals, I'm expecting some kind of big announcement there. However, that would mean that we wouldn't actually get a November update. Now, some of the other rumours are that the World Series will actually take place on one, or at least a couple of rounds of it, will take place on one of these new tracks. So that could either be, well, mainly rumoured to be Grand Valley Speedway and Road Atlanta, which would kind of make sense to what has essentially been put out there as a rumour, speculation, whatever you want to call it, recently, is that the update would come Monday. Which is very weird. If you've been around Gran Turismo 7 since the beginning, it's a weird kind of time for them to release an update. It's always been Thursday, and it's always gone in the same kind of format. Now, they did break their kind of cycle in terms of releasing tracks in the last update. That would kind of make sense for a track to come now, and obviously the update kind of breaking the Thursday cycle really wouldn't be too far-fetched. However, if we were to get those teasers by Kaz, which at this point on the Saturday morning we haven't had anything official in terms of silhouettes or anything like that, so it's not looking like an update is likely to come. We'll probably have to get the teasers by Saturday night at the latest. If we don't get those by kind of Saturday night into early hours of Sunday morning, well, my time personally, which is GMT, then I'm going to assume that update won't come Monday. However, if we go over to Nenkai, this is obviously his speculation. It says, so it's looking likely that the GTWS Finals will have one or more races on the new track, as the update will release before it. Same release schedule, so Monday. There are some bits here and there from new content that explicably suggest the player to watch the World Finals. So, yeah, very kind of weird if they do actually drop it Monday. But in my opinion, if Kaz doesn't do the kind of usual kind of car silhouettes and stuff like he has all along since GT7 was released, probably by, like I said, Saturday night into early hours of Sunday morning, kind of my time, then I just don't see it actually happening Monday. It would be a very strange one. Obviously, it would break the cycle, but it would make sense in kind of in terms of the World Finals. If it is to take place on a new track, or a track that may have not actually been to Gran Turismo before, which I believe Road Atlanta hasn't, then it would make sense for them to drop it Monday, let the pros get as much practice as they can before obviously the big finals on the weekend, especially if it does take place at one of those tracks. So very, very strange. It's just rumours, like I said, so take it with a pinch of salt. Don't take it as absolute fact. It could come ASAP, or it could essentially drop at the usual time and just follow the usual format. Now, in terms of the actual World Finals, like I said, I'm expecting something big to be announced there. So if they drop the November update pretty, quietly, which, like I said, everything in terms of Gran Turismo 7 seems to have gone very quiet officially recently. They seem to just be constantly hyping up the World Series, which, look, it makes sense on their part. Even if you're not an esports fan or kind of a fan of the GT World Series and you're one of those that think it ruined Gran Turismo because that's where the focus is, it's still a big event that gets many eyes, put on it. So, in my opinion, for them to actually announce a big December update very early, before the kind of Christmas period shut down where most developers and stuff will just not be around, would be pretty good to do it actually at the World Series. You've got many eyes on you. It builds up tons of hype right before the Christmas period. So yeah, it essentially could mean that possibly we'll get the November update kind of drop, maybe off the usual time, or maybe on the usual time, and then we get like a big kind of update for December, which in my opinion would make sense for them to announce at the World Series and build up a ton of hype before Christmas, sell more copies and all that stuff. Now, if I was personally running PD, that is what I'd do. I'd drop the update probably a little bit earlier if I was going to include a new track and let the pros practice, obviously for the World Series. And then on a big stage, I'd do a massive kind of update presentation. Yes, it'll be very early and it'll still take place in November, but it really does get the hype going right before Christmas. And that's what I really think Polyphony honestly need to do. So, it could be kind of, it's been so quiet for so long that we're just going to get a barrage of things. I'm not holding my breath, but it would be absolutely awesome, But then at the same time, you kind of run into what a lot of people seem to think is that, these people that have bought it day one are essentially just beta testers up until, either the year anniversary of the game or, the Christmas period where, look, people, yes, the game's been out a while, but people that might have not jumped in straight away may get it, for Christmas as a gift or something like that, or may, when the game's kind of where they feel like it might be, if they release a big hyped update trailer, they might want to feel like, oh yeah, okay, right, now I'll jump into Gran Turismo after, all the negative kind of press around it. In the early days, a lot of people did avoid the game. Those people that hold off will probably have avoided it because of all the, drama going off with the game, and now they might see a big update and think, oh, do you know what, I'll just kind of get that, for Christmas or something as a gift. So yeah, it is just really bizarre and really strange. I feel like it's gone far too quiet for nothing to happen, and I am hoping like when most developers, when they kind of go quiet, will then drop an absolute banger. So we could get a an update in November and then get a a big announcement for December's update, or maybe possible features coming up, all that good stuff on a big stage. Possibly I'd probably say Sunday. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just very, very kind of strange at the minute in terms of Gran Turismo. There's a lot of rumours flying out there. There's a lot of kind of, people saying this, people saying that, and you don't really know what to believe. So for someone like me that kind of covers Gran Turismo 7 each and every day and reports on all the latest updates, news, discussions and all that stuff, it is kind of strange at the minute. I like to kind of cover what's out there and what may or may not happen, obviously, and give my own opinion on it. For me personally, I do feel like there is a possibility that everything's running a bit late, especially with the World Series, and we may not even get a November update. For me, that just feels more likely. At the same time, it doesn't make sense in terms of the usual for Gran Turismo, but for me personally, I just feel like it's just starting to run a bit on a bit longer than usual. So I can't really dig into the idea that it'd be Monday. For me, if they were going to do a GT7 update, it would be the usual Thursday. Yes, it makes sense for the pros to get a bit of practice in early, but then I just don't see them breaking that cycle. I feel like it's gone kind of too deep into the month with nothing for that to kind of happen. So it is purely speculation. Who actually knows? It's just, I don't know, it's a weird situation, and that's nothing against any of the data miners. Usually they are absolutely spot on, and the things they've done for older GT GT games is absolutely amazing. It just feels like at the minute PD are kind of clicking onto what's happening and stuff, and then doing the old switcheroo, like, you know, 1 minute Grand Valley Speedway is coming back, and the next minute, you know, it's being hinted at possible, you know, different tracks. So it's very, very strange, very, very bizarre. So like I said, take it with a pinch of salt. It could come Monday, it could come Thursday, it could never come at all. So, you know, it's a difficult one to really judge. Now, there's another bit of information that kind of makes me think that it's going to be the usual Thursday release, and that is purely because of the daily races being announced for next week. Obviously, these are pretty much always spot on, very early. That's why you'll kind of see, you know, testing lobbies throughout the weekend before they obviously officially come in on the Monday. So next week's daily races are, you know, daily race A is Sardinia Road A with a Chaparral 2J BOP, 7 laps, 1 times tyre and fuel, racing hards. Race B is Red Bull Ring Group 3, 7 laps, 1 times tyre and fuel, racing hards. And C is Watkins Glen Long Group 4, 10 laps, 1 tyre wear, 7 fuel, RH and RM and RH mandatory. So yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't really hint that there's anything new coming, you know, on Monday. Because if that's the case and the update was to drop Monday, then surely, you know, in the time that it updates, they'd kind of already have the race planned out for a new track, because, you know, that's kind of the big rumours at the minute. So yeah, that kind of makes me think, look, it might not come Monday. However, someone like Nenkai still holds the belief that, you know, it is possible, because he says, note 1, if you remember, before the showdown and during, they plan daily races 2 weeks ahead, so it hopefully isn't indicative of anything. So, like I said, if they have planned this 2 weeks ahead, obviously because of the whole World Series and updates and stuff, then that would kind of make sense that it would then tick over to being the new track the next week, you know, instead of the week that's going to come up. So it would be, what, you know, just under 2 weeks time. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very strange one. I don't want to officially, you know, put my own opinion on. Look, I'm not the most clued up person in terms of, you know, what's coming and what's not. Don't get me wrong, I don't have the equipment the data miners do. I wouldn't know where to start to even, you know, begin that kind of thing. I'm just here to purely report, you know, speculation, rumours, official news, official updates and such around Gran Turismo 7. And, you know, whilst these data miners are pretty much, you know, never really wrong, or if they are, they're only off by the slightest. Yeah, it is very kind of, you know, hit or miss, and you just have to take everything with a pinch of salt. So look, we could get the update Monday, like I said, but for me personally, I'm doubtful. So don't take it as kind of, you know, it's definitely going to happen, but it still could. Who knows? So that's going to be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you don't miss an upload from myself. Go and check out my links in the description down below for my Twitter, Discord, and my sponsor, the Controller People. And that's going to be it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Peace.